Hi again from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So I just wanted to film one last garden update video for you guys before we get some big snow tomorrow. I have been out here working all day. The previous video that you guys saw was me planting tulips in crates. I actually just finished that. So in this video, I just want to share with you some garden updates, how I'm buttoning the garden up for winter, and I have started my parking lot renovation project, so I wanted to share that with you guys too. One of the things that I did today was get my greenhouse ready for winter. I had some panels that were blown out, and so I wanted to make sure to get those put in. So I got those put in. I will link down below the company that I purchase my plastic from, but basically it was just a matter of loosening the screws to wedge those in there. So the greenhouse is all buttoned up for the winter. I also bought some of the clear Gorilla Tape. I think it's a 2-inch wide. I will also link that down below. That is supposedly waterproof, and I wanted to just put that on the edge of some of the panels that were a little loose. That way I didn't lose any over the winter. Now, I don't actually grow in this structure over the winter, but I do use it early in the spring for starting some plants early, doing a little seed starting, and then when I transition all of my seedlings out to start hardening them off, I do use the greenhouse at that point too. So I wanted to make sure that it was also all ready to go for spring. Inside the greenhouse, I still need to do a little cleaning out, but I'm sure we'll have a mild day this winter that I'll be wanting to get outside, and I can come do that then. All right, next I want to show you some of my beds that I was prepping for winter. So this big main planting area of the garden, of course, is where all of my tulips went. You can see my white markers. Those are marking all the varieties of tulips. In this area, I have 3,100 tulip bulbs planted. So when I planted the tulips, if you saw that video, you saw me dig the trenches. I put in the fertilizer. So this area is all ready to go for spring. This is also where my zinnias and some of my dahlias were planted for summer. So this was all covered with landscape fabric. So to do the tulip planting project, I needed to pull up that landscape fabric. The other thing that I did today was get the landscape fabric ready for winter. That is something that you can use for probably at least 10 years. It is so durable that it does not rip or tear. And so if you're using landscape fabric, you want to make sure that you reuse it from year to year. So I cleaned that up, I folded it up, and that is packed away in the greenhouse so that once my tulips are out of the ground next spring, I can use those same pieces of landscape fabric in the same planting area, and it will be all ready to go for summer planting. So this particular bed, you can see I still do have the landscape fabric down, and I'm planning to leave this down for the winter. And in the spring, I will probably pull up the fabric over the planting area. I'll leave the pathway because that is going to stay how it is. I'm not going to plant in this pathway because it's been walked on so much. That's going to remain a pathway. But in the spring, I'll just peel this piece of landscape fabric back. We'll till it if I need to. I'll put down some compost and then just staple it right back down, and this area will be easily ready for planting right away in the spring. So the next spot that I want to show you is on the outside of this main garden area, and that is where we have started prep for the high tunnel that's going in. All right, so as we walk out to the parking lot, you can see a large area right over here where all of the rock has been cleared. That is where my high tunnel is going, and hopefully you guys can see that okay. Now this area is much bigger than the actual high tunnel will be. We ended up clearing about a 24 by 30 foot area of gravel. The high tunnel itself will only be about a 16 by 24, but I'm really excited to have this first step done. So this has been driven over so many times. It's so packed down, and there's still some gravel in there. So the plan from here is to have some dirt brought in, probably about 7 to 8 inches thick, level that out. That will also raise the area so that water does not settle. And then I will have compost brought in on top of that, so it is a nice, healthy planting space. I also will probably put cardboard down before the dirt goes down. That way I'm using the no dig method. The weeds are killed off. And you can see This has been a parking lot for years. I would never want to directly plant right in this, but with the right amendments and thickness of dirt and compost, This should be a great new planting space to extend my growing season and extend my planting space. And the other thing I did today was add compost to these raised beds where my daffodils are planted. I felt I just wanted a little more coverage on the soil. You can see some potatoes there for my compost. But this is really healthy, nice compost from my compost bin. So I just added a nice layer of this over top of the daffodils just to give them a little more insulation so that they're tucked in with some nutrients and a little more depth for winter. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing just a quick garden update. And again, this is probably the last day I will be out in the garden this season. I am ready to be done for this season. I'm ready to rotate over to planning for next season. And obviously, I'm working on the extended projects out in the parking area. So, it's time. We need some snow. We need that moisture and insulation for winter. So it'll just be fun to start planning for the new season. But I have a lot of videos planned throughout the winter, including my 2023 garden plan, a recap of 2022, all my favorite cut flowers for the year, and I'm sure way more. So anyway, stay tuned for all of that. We'll see you soon.